Electronic engineering is a discipline of electrical engineering that deals with the design, fabrication, and operation of electronic circuit devices and systems. And electronic is a branch of physics that deals with the emission, behavior, and operations of electron. In order to understand electronic circuit, we must have idea about the atomic structure, because electrons are parts of atom. Welcome to electronic circuit course. It is also popular as analog electronics in different engineering schools. I'm Nuruzzaman Faruqui, a full-time faculty member of Department of Computer Science and Engineering of City University. And in this lesson, we will learn Bohr's atomic model, energy band diagram, energy level diagram, different types of energy band diagram in solid, classification of solids based on energy band diagram, and silicon. After completing this lesson, you will have enough idea about atomic structure to study the prerequisite of electronic circuit, which is semiconductor physics. The study of atomic structure is very important in electronics engineering. Unfortunately, the size of an atom is so small that it is virtually impossible to see it, even with the most powerful microscope. Therefore, we have to employ indirect method for the study of its structure. The method consists of studying the properties of atom experimentally. After this, a guess is made regarding the possible structure of atom, which should satisfy the properties studied experimentally. Various scientists have given different theories regarding the structure of atom. However, for the purpose of understanding electronics, the study of Bohr's atomic model is adequate. Although numerous refinements on Bohr's atomic model have since been made, we still believe in the laws of Bohr applied to the atomic world. In this lesson, we shall deal with Bohr's atomic model in order to understand the problems facing the electronic world. In 1939, Niels Bohr, a Danish physicist, gave clear explanation of atomic structure. According to Bohr, an atom consists of a positively charged nucleus around which negatively charged electrons revolve in different circular orbits. The electrons can revolve around the nucleus only in certain permitted orbits. For example, orbits of certain radii are allowed. The electrons in each permitted orbit have a certain fixed amount of energy. The larger the orbit, the greater the energy of electrons. If an electron is giving additional energy such as heat, light, etc., it is lifted to higher orbit. The atom is said to be in a state of excitation. This state does not last long because the electron soon falls back to the original lower orbit. As it falls, it gives back the acquired energy in form of heat, light, or other radiations. Each orbit has fixed amount of energy associated with it. The electrons moving in a particular orbit possess the energy of that orbit. The larger the orbit, the greater is its energy. It becomes clear that outer orbit electrons possess more energy than the inner orbit electrons. A convenient way of representing the energy of different orbits is energy level diagram. The first orbit represents the first energy level. The second orbit indicates the second energy level, and so on. The larger the orbit of an electron, the greater is its energy and higher is the energy level. This is a single atom. In case of a single isolated atom, the electrons in any orbit possess definite energy. However, an atom in a solid is greatly influenced by the closely packed neighboring atoms. The result is that the electron in any orbit of such atom can have a range of energies rather than a single energy. This is known as energy band. The range of energies possessed by an electron in a solid is known as energy band. The electron in outermost orbit of an atom are known as valence electrons. In a normal atom, valence band has the electrons of highest energy. The range of energies possessed by valence electron is known as valence band. This band may be completely or partially filled. For instance, in case of inert gases, the valence electron is full, whereas for other material, it is only partially filled. The partially filled band can accommodate more electrons. In certain materials, for example metals, the valence electrons are loosely attached to the nucleus. Even at ordinary temperature, some of the valence electrons may get detached to become free electrons. In fact, it is these free electrons which are responsible for the conduction of current in a conductor. For this reason, they are called conduction electrons. The range of energies possessed by conduction electrons is known as conduction band. All electrons in the conduction band are free electrons. If a substance has empty conduction band, it means current conduction is not possible in that substance. Generally, insulators have empty conduction band. On the other hand, it is partially filled for conductors. The separation between conduction band and valence band on the energy level diagram is known as forbidden energy gap. No electron of a solid can stay in forbidden energy gap as there is no allowed energy state in this region. The width of the forbidden energy gap is a measure of the bondage of valence electrons to the atom. The greater the energy gap, the more tightly the valence electrons are bound to the nucleus. In order to push electron from valence band to conduction band, for example, make the electron free, external energy equal to the forbidden energy gap must be supplied. We know that some solids are good conductors of electricity while others are insulators. There is also an intermediate class of semiconductors. The difference in behavior of solid as regards their electrical conductivity can be beautifully explained in terms of energy bands. The electrons in the lower band are tightly bound to the nucleus and play no part in conduction process. However, the valence and conduction bands are of particular importance in ascertaining the electrical behavior of various solids. Insulators, for example, wood, glass, etc., are those substances which do not allow the passage of electric current through them. In terms of energy band, the valence band is full while conduction band is empty. The energy gap between valence and conduction bands is very large. It is almost equal to 15 electron volt. Therefore, a very high electric field is required to push the valence electrons to the conduction band. For this reason, the electrical conductivity of such materials is extremely small and may be regarded as nil under ordinary conditions. At room temperature, the valence electrons of the insulators do not have enough energy to cross over the conduction band. However, when the temperature is raised, some of the valence electrons may acquire enough energy to cross over the conduction band. Hence, resistance of an insulator decreases with the increase in temperature. For example, an insulator has negative temperature coefficient of resistance. Conductors such as copper, aluminum, and so on are those substances which easily allow the passage of electric current through them. It is because there are a large number of free electrons available in conductor. In terms of energy band, the valence and conduction bands overlap each other. Due to this overlapping, a slight potential difference across a conductor causes the free electrons to constitute electric current. Thus, the electrical behavior of conductors can be satisfactorily explained by the band energy theory of materials. Semiconductors such as germanium, silicon, etc. are those substances whose electrical conductivity lies in between conductors and insulators. In terms of energy band, the valence band is almost filled and conduction band is almost empty. The energy gap between valence band and the conduction band is very small. Therefore, smaller electric field is required to push the electrons from valence band to conduction band. In short, semiconductor has almost full valence band, almost empty conduction band, small energy gap almost equal to 1 electron volt between valence and conduction band. At low temperature, the valence band is completely full and conduction band is completely empty. Therefore, a semiconductor virtually behaves as an insulator at low temperatures. However, even at room temperature, some electrons cross over the conduction band, imparting little conductivity to the semiconductor. As the temperature increased, more valence electrons cross over the conduction band and the conductivity increases. This shows that electrical conductivity of a semiconductor increases with the rise of temperature. During the infancy of electronic industry, both germanium and silicon were used in the manufacture of semiconductor devices. As the electronic field advanced, it was realized that silicon was superior to germanium in many respects. Since silicon is the most widely used material in manufacture of semiconductor devices, we shall continue to discuss the properties of this material. The valence electrons in germanium are in 4th orbit, while the valence electrons in silicon are in 3rd orbit, closer to the nucleus. Therefore, the germanium valence electrons are at higher energy level than those in silicon. This means that germanium valence electrons require smaller amount of additional energy to escape from the atom and become free electron. This property makes germanium more unstable at high temperatures. This is the reason why silicon is widely used as semiconductor material. The atomic number of silicon is 14, so that its 14 electrons are distributed in 3 orbits. Each energy level is associated with certain amount of energy and is separated from adjacent bands by energy gap. For an electron to jump from one orbit to the next orbit, external energy equal to the energy difference of the orbits must be supplied. For example, the valence band is shown to have an energy level of 0.7 electron volt. The conduction band is shown to have an energy level of 1.8 electron volt. Thus, for an electron to jump from the valence band to the conduction band, an energy of 1.1 electron volt must be supplied. We have learned Bohr's atomic model. Now we know what is energy level diagram and energy band diagram. We can also classify solids based on energy gaps of valence band and conduction band. Now we know why silicon is better than germanium in electronics, and we are ready to go to the next lesson, that is semiconductor physics.